Hi guys, welcome back to Mysteries with Pippa. It's so lovely to have you all back here, and thank you so much to those who have supported me while I've been on a little break waiting for that microphone to arrive. So now that it's here, hopefully it works and we can get going. So if you haven't followed me before, make sure you do on Instagram. It's Mysteries with Pippa, and today's case, it's not about one missing person or one dead person. This is about 9 dead people. And without further ado, let's get into the case. So this is the case of the Dyatlov Pass. So the year was 1959, and 10 young friends all decided to trek across the northern Urals in Russia. So the 10 individuals who decided to go on this trek were highly skilled. They had a grade 2 expedition certificate, and in order to do this expedition they were going to be gaining their grade 3. And that was the highest at the time that you could gain in expeditions and skiing and hiking, so that's what they were aiming for. They all attended the same university, and 10 would leave, but only 1 would return. So what happened? Igor Dyatlov was the leader of the group. He was the one who put the expedition together, and it comprised of 8 men and 2 women. And so on the 25th of January 1959, they took a train to Idvil, and then they took a truck to Vizhai, where they spent the night there in preparation for their expedition. Then on the 27th of January, they began their trek. A day later, one of the members of the 10, his name was Yuri Yudin, had massive health complications. He had had a heart defect which he had known about, but he also had arthritis, and he was having severe joint pains and knee pains, and his heart was feeling a bit strange, and so he decided that he would return and not complete the journey. He would be the only member of the group of 10 that would return. The 9 carried on, never to be seen again. The events that take place, which I'm about to tell you, are from diaries and from photo entries of the group of 9 that they had taken and written down. On the 31st of January, they arrived at the bottom of the mountain that they were going to climb, and they had camped out there for the night in a woodland area ready to climb. And on the 1st of February, they finally began their climb up the mountain. As they were going through the pass, the weather conditions got considerably worse throughout the day, and it is documented that the weather conditions were very bad on the pass that day. And due to poor visibility and extensive snow, the group actually deviated west when they were meant to go up north. Because they were so experienced, they had realised this, they had documented that they had gone the wrong way, and they decided to camp where they were for the night rather than go back down to the woodland and start again the next day. So many people have argued, why did they do this? And Yuri, the only man to have come back from the group of 10, had said that they had actually gained altitude, so it seemed reasonable for them to just camp on the side for the night and then in the morning make their way back north. And also it was very good practice, because the snow had been so bad, they were going to practice sleeping on a tent in bad conditions rather than go back down to the woodland area, so they would be prepared for this expedition. These guys were experienced, they knew what they were doing, and they were ready to complete the challenge. It was noted that they were expected to send a telegram to their family and friends on the 12th of February once they had completed the pass and gone back down to Vizhai, although before Yuri had left to return back to Vizhai due to his problems, the main leader, Dyatlov, had told Yuri that he expected it would be a little bit longer. So as we can expect, the 12th of February had come and gone, and no telegram had been sent to their families to say that they had returned. This was considered normal because Yuri had advised that, we probably won't hear from them for a couple more days. And it was very common back then for expeditions to be delayed or run over time due to weather conditions, so no one was really worried. It was only when the 20th of February had reached that family and friends began to worry, and a mission was sent out to find the missing 9. On the 26th of February, 6 days after the search had begun, they had found the tent that the missing 9 had been staying in. The tent was badly damaged, it had been ripped from the inside out, and there was snow inside the tent. Searchers were completely baffled because the weather conditions were very freezing and very cold, and yet everything was inside the tent. People's sleeping bags, personal belongings, their shoes, all but the missing people. It was only later that they found out that the rip in the tent was actually made from the inside out, as if someone wanted to get out fast, but so fast that they did not have time to undo the zip to get out, which sounds very, very scary. It also gets worse. There were 9 sets of footprints around the camping area, so the weather conditions hadn't been that bad where snow had fallen and kind of made the footprints disappear. But these footprints were bare and also in socks. There was no actual shoe prints, which suggests that the missing 9 had been running around or walking around without any shoes in freezing conditions. They searched the surrounding area where the tent was, and this is where they found the first of the 9. They found 2 bodies near a small fire, and these bodies were partially clothed. The bodies just had underwear on, and there was a tree nearby which had branches that were broken up to 5 feet, which shows that someone had tried to climb up the tree, whether to get a view to see something or to hide from something, but it was unsuccessful as all the branches broke. Further up, they found a further 3 bodies which were also not clothed very well, and this was one of the 3 bodies was Dyatlov, the main expeditioner, and they were positioned in a way that they were trying to get back to the tent. So they were positioned in the direction of the tent. All the bodies found so far had died of hypothermia, and while it was strange, it wasn't suspicious. It was only until 2 months later when they found the remaining 4 bodies. They were found on the 4th of May 1959 under heavy snow. They appeared to be better dressed, and it was also as if they had took clothes off other deceased bodies. So for example, one of the women there had on trousers that from one of the dead man that was on the expedition with them, and she also had another man's top tied around her leg and ankle as if she was wounded. The remaining 4 that were found did make this investigation go from strange to suspicious, and I'm going to tell you why now. All 4 bodies had soft tissue damage, and 3 had major injuries which led to their death. They all had skull fractures and chest fractures, and the medical examiner compared their injuries to a car accident. In late May that year, no more than a month after they had found all of the bodies, the files of Dyatlov Pass went into a secret archive as they couldn't find a guilty party. To this day, it remains unknown what caused the death of all these individuals. The last 4 bodies that were found had eyes removed, a tongue removed, and one of the women had her lips removed. One of the men also had no eyebrows, and yet no one has been found guilty for the suspicious deaths. Nobody knows exactly what happened or if other parties were involved, and it's just very suspicious. So now we're going to get into the theories about the Dyatlov Pass and what people think happened to the 9 that disappeared that day. The first theory is that there was an avalanche, or that they were aware one was coming due to vibrations, and that the group didn't have time to get out, and so they made a cut through the tent and had just ran and left. But one theory to discredit this, and which many people have said, is that there were other hikers on the mountain on the other side. There was no avalanche, no sign, no feeling of an avalanche. And also 6 days later, when they found the tent, they also found the footprint. But they do find it weird that it took over 2 months to find the remaining 4 because they were covered in so much snow. Another theory is of katabatic wind. These are extremely violent winds that can be found on the Dyatlov Pass and have been known to happen, and they're extremely violent winds that would have made it impossible for the group to stay in the tent, and that they left violently and quickly because of these winds. They can just come up in an instant and disappear very quickly, but that once they had left, they couldn't find their way back and so died of hypothermia. And they also believe that the group of 4 who had soft tissue damage and also eyes removed and a lip removed, one had no tongue, that these were done either by woodland creatures or just by the severe pressure of the snow. There is also another theory which I kind of want to tell you about, and this is the idea of military testing. What I didn't tell you before was that a couple of the individuals who were found dead on the Dyatlov Pass, is that the clothes of those individuals tested high for radiation. And as known, there was a military base nearby, and they think that the military base could have been performing tests on bombs, and that they either heard or saw something that they weren't meant to, or that they just accidentally got caught in the way. And there's also the most famous theory, and while I don't want to tarnish the memory or make fun of the memory, it is so big it has to be mentioned, and this is the Yeti theory. There is a theory that the Yetis do exist on the Dyatlov on the pass, and that they had been the ones who killed them. That's why they left in a hurry in the night, and that's why they had tongues and eyes missing. But whether we want to give that much entertainment is another thing. What is clear about this case though is that it is strange, it is suspicious, it is not anything that can be compared to by today's standards. The medical examiner said that what killed them was a compelling natural force and determined their death as undetermined. For a medical examiner to say that the deaths were done by a compelling natural force says it all, really. These were experienced hikers, as many people try to say that they weren't, or that they went out in the night and got hypothermia. Others had gathered clothes from those dead, which showed that they had the knowledge to try and keep warm, that they had the knowledge not to entertain this idea of hypothermia. And like I said, they were very experienced. They were one of the highest they could achieve back then. And what I think is so scary is the fact that this happened and there's nothing we can do to find out now what happened. The most viable one, I do think, is the military theory. It was very close to military personnel, and the fact that they all had radiation in their clothes says a lot, really. So do let me know what you guys think about the Dyatlov Pass. It's a very strange case, and I hope that I will keep you guys forever as my subscribers. It's been amazing to chat to you, and I'm very sorry that's not been sooner, and I wish you all the best and all the best for the new year, and I hope you guys have an amazing 2020. So from one mystery fan to another, I will see you again for the next mystery. Bye bye.